Hello friends, this is Dr. Ravi Ram, your EIS coach. We are in chapter 2, Financial and Accounting Systems, where we have discussed about ERP modules at length and some of the other aspects of business process management. In this session, we are going to focus on what is a reporting system and few examples of management information systems. Why reports are generated? What is a reporting system? You would have heard reports. A report means presentation of information in proper and meaningful way. Very simple. Varieties of systems are there. So reporting system is also like a system of regular reporting on the pre-decided aspects. So basic purpose of any financial and accounting system, right information should be there, and two classic reports what we have: balance sheet, profit and loss statement or account, which are used for basic analysis of financial position and financial performance. Of course, that should help us an organization in decision making process. So we need a proper reporting system to serve the purpose. So all the companies generally have finance function which monitors the financial position monthly. Monthly reports are there. Of course, sometimes it may be weekly also. So key reports are analyzed by management. Typically reports are given to management for what? To determine if appropriate financial decisions are made at the right time or not. So always reports are for what? Reports are for financial decision making. In case of financial reports, why balance sheet is looked upon, why profit and loss account statement gets analyzed, to take further steps of either investment or disinvestment or maybe acquisition or merger, or should we increase a portfolio or some decision. Strategic financial decisions. So large companies, large listed companies publish their annual reports to public. You can look at SEBI website and get a lot of annual reports and their social responsibilities, etc. So management discussion and analysis section in these annual reports discusses how management have prepared the financial position. So MD and A, maybe it can be a 1 mark question. What is MD and A? Management discussion and analysis section in all these annual reports. Why do they do that? In that they will say why or what is the method they have followed to arrive at the financial position. Their interpretation of company's performance, because that may vary from company to company. Why? Accounting or reporting is also art. It is not science. The moment there is art, it can be left to interpretation. So industry should definitely use the reports. Most commonly used systems for management information or information that should be provided to management are called management information systems. So basically a lot of reports are given in MIS to senior management or management also. Different varieties of reports are given. So what is MIS? So assume, let us say you are the head of a medium-sized company, customer service department. So our staff takes phone calls and emails over 300 customers every day, let us say. For the most part, they do a good job, but customers have started to complain these days. So how can we analyze where the issue is going to, issue is coming up? Where the issue is, the problem is there. But before we decide a particular date to fix the problem, we should know what are all the reports that are there, what type of customer data we are capturing, what type of satisfaction we are giving to customer. So those reports should be there to take a decision. So that's how MIS reports are to take decision. Who uses? Typically MIS systems are not manual, these are automated. Automatically collect data from various areas within a business. So these systems can produce daily reports that can be sent to key members throughout the organization. So anyone in the organization can be seen, however, based on their role. Most MIS systems also generate on-demand reports. Suddenly we need a report. Okay, I'm working in a bank and we want a report on the NPAs, non-performing assets, between 15 crores to 100 crores, the company's list. Generally on every day we may not require, for some purpose I need it. Then there may be MIS ad hoc report also, on demand reports. So basically reports are used by managers to know the decisions, or to take the decisions, to know the information, they use it. And all the MIS reports, varieties of MIS reports are all automated. That we need to understand. So sometimes method of collecting of data also is automated. Smaller businesses use smaller programs, and large organizations, they use ERP systems. Okay, varieties of reports are there. There is nothing one variety. Hundreds of varieties of MIS reports are there. And within the divisions also, marketing reports are different, sales reports are different, financial reports are different, HR reports are different. Every organization has their own, every function has their own reports. So reports can be anywhere. Financial reporting, how the financial reports work, you will learn in CA final. That's called FR, financial reporting. So generally what is the information? As an example earlier, let us say we are into customer service calls. So what data may be there? Number of calls, number of emails, average amount of time it is taking, number of questions we are asking, some type of data. So any report should be useful. It cannot have just data. It should be there to be useful to take decisions. So report has to be relevant. What are the criteria to have a best MIS report? This can be a good short answer question. Write it down in your notebook. MIS reports, success criteria or criteria for MIS reports. First thing, MIS report should be relevant, should be specific to the business area. It cannot be generic. This is important because report that includes unnecessary information may be ignored. It should be timely. We want a weekly report, but we get only one month later. Then what is the use of taking decision? So it has to be timely. Of course, accuracy. Just because of a report, we should not send a report. We should not prepare a report. Our system should not prepare a report. It has to be accurate data. And it should have a structure. What is structure? Structure is nothing but it should have certain sequence of data to be presented. Okay, so four aspects, four points in that criteria. MIS report should be relevant, timely, accurate, and structured. Alright. As an example, again MIS report as an example regarding control over cash balance. What type of a report we can produce? One second, I think mouse is behaving weird. Yeah. The objectives of the MIS report is to have control over cash balance of cash transactions. What type of, this can be a report, weekly cash report. What is the physical cash? What is the total opening balance, total reserve, total payments, closing balance, system cash, difference, these aspects. This will easily be used by managers to see if there is a difference. So if the difference is just 50, probably managers may not even look for. But if the difference is more, then definitely management asks why there is a difference. Also, see weekly cash, this another method. There is no need to by heart this, but there may be a sample question, case study based question. This is the organization and these are the details of the organization in terms of their weekly or monthly details. Every week four data points are there. Try to prepare an MIS report based on certain criteria. So tabular format like this. Sales, for example, total number of demos, total number of what is the value, what is the collection. Simple way to look at it. 90% of us, if we are working in management in future, we will get these type of reports from different parts of the organization where we manage. Okay, MIS. Any questions? So the most important point of MIS is these four. What is the criteria that a good MIS can be prepared? It should be relevant, it should be timely, the data should be accurate, and it should be structured. Okay? If a question on MIS comes, I hope you can respond now. You can write now. Okay? I mean, you can write, and your answer can be correct, because this is pretty straightforward. All right. Another topic in terms of reports, and more from information technology standpoint, it is called data analytics and business intelligence. Some new concepts probably we will learn here. Some of us who are interested already, if they know, it's okay. But new concepts. What is data analysis? Lot of data is available. Customer data, sales data, marketing data. So much of data is around us, especially in organizations. Some of the data is internal data. Some of the data is external data, like financial data, economic data, macroeconomic, microeconomic, political data, legal data. So much of data, internal and external. How to analyze that? There are various tools, there are various techniques. The first thing is called data analytics, which is the process of examining data sets to draw conclusions. Data sets means data will be segregated to sets, varieties of sets. I hope in mathematics in 10th or 11th standard, I don't remember, you would have done some problems. Sets, arranging the data into similar sets. Why? To draw conclusions about information they contain. Okay. In the age of specialized systems, there are a lot of softwares are there now, and most of the e-commerce systems, web-based applications, they use data analytics as a backend. Why? Because lot of data is sold to them. Oh, that is a data privacy issue. So in the entire internet, the moment we log into internet, our data is open. Don't think the data means secured in our phone and all that. Okay. Lot of other data they use. Otherwise, how do you get all these sales calls? How do you get all these nonsense SMSs? So why do you get some junk emails, spam emails? Because our data someone else is using to their marketing. So data analytics and technologies or techniques widely used in commercial industries, definitely. That's the reason why. So data analytics predominantly refers to assortment of, this is a crucial decision, write it down. Data, what is data analytics? It is nothing but an assortment of applications from business intelligence, which is called BI, reporting and online analytical processing systems. Also, that may go to or lead to various forms of advanced analytics also. Data analytics is nothing but there are certain applications. Assortment means combination of. Assortment, combination of. So varieties of applications are involved, like from basic business intelligence to reporting to online analytical processing. This is a new technology that is there. The moment we try to type in the online, automatically the data is processed. Those are called OLAP, online analytical processing. This can be a 1 mark question. In one of the exams it was given as 1 mark question. What is OLAP? And in the multiple choice we have to pick online analytical processing. Write it down. So this is how data gets information. The data analytics actually uses the data and finally produces some reports and whatever requirements. So data analytics can help business. How? In increasing the revenues. What are the general benefits? Increasing the revenues. Why? Because we have the data. We can use the data, customer data or any of the data to market, sale and some of the other customer relationship management products. We can develop those. So improving operational efficiency, because earlier marketing had to do manually. Now it is all reports. Marketing wants to know how many male 30 years below in the area of let us say Hyderabad are non-smokers. Maybe they will get the data from various available areas and they will analyze that. And using that, they may start some, new scheme. So data analytics is fantastic. So that operational efficiency will increase and it will definitely optimize the marketing campaigns. That is a major purpose, and customer service efforts also. And they can respond more quickly to emerging market trends and the competitive edge can be there. Because prior to the arrivals, we can analyze the data and formulate our strategy. So always data is power. Now data is power in the eyes of, that's why Facebook, WhatsApp, Google, they collect our data like hell. I don't know how many of you actually watch movies. There is a movie called Ex Machina. Ex Machina. Machina. Oh, that movie is somewhat related to not analytics only, but collection of data. So, I mean, when you get a chance, just look at, watch that if possible. I think there are some, adult scenes, 18 plus is okay, I believe. Okay. So, it is about, basically it is about how a humanoid, like a robo humanoid, takes the data and gets analyzed. So, I don't want to spoil the story here by telling the story here, but you just watch it. How the data analysis works, how the data gets collated, how the data gets analyzed. And Amazon does the same, Google does the same, Facebook does the same. You name it, they do all that analysis. That's the reason why they will give suggestions to us. I don't know whether you have observed. If you are buying something and underneath it, this application itself will give few more suggestions for us. Hey, you are buying this, right? Why don't you buy other things also? How does it know? Because it knows our pattern, the way we try to search, the way we try to look for the data. They means what? Not the person. Jeff Bezos. No, it's not the person. I'm talking about the system. That's how the systems work. Same with Google also. Same with every tools all. So data analytics is very important for various businesses. Okay. Of course, we'll go a little deep into types of data analytics applications. This is a bit theory. At a high level, data analytics methodologies include two varieties. Write it down. EDA, exploratory data analysis, which tries to find patterns and relationships in data. Most of the search engines, most of the e-commerce applications, they do this because they will identify the pattern of our shopping, for example, or pattern of web browsing, pattern of or all the relationships among our various historical events on the internet, the way we try to browse. All those details are analyzed. That is called exploratory, meaning more and more exploration. EDA. What is confirmatory data analysis? Write it down. Second point. Types of data analytics. This can be a good question. 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark, whatever. So EDA, exploratory data analysis, patterns and relationships. That is the method. Second one, confirmatory data analysis. Mostly it applies statistical techniques. For what? To determine whether hypothesis about data set is true or false. What is hypothesis? For example, most of the female in Hyderabad above 20, below 25 who are earning less than 50,000 per month spend 20,000 in shopping. Okay, that is the statement I gave. To prove it right or wrong, what can we do? We can analyze the available data. And if we analyze the data using statistical techniques, there are various statistical techniques. Data analysis is mostly depending on statistical techniques like ANOVA, like chi-square. There are varieties of statistical techniques. Using those techniques, we can say whether the assumption is correct or not. So based on that assumption, we can confirm that the data is correct or data can be used. In the first category, we will be searching for patterns and relationships in data. In the second category or second type, confirmatory data analysis, we will try to see we apply statistical techniques and prove whether the hypothesis is correct or not. Okay, so this is, you have to write this, note down this point in your notebook. So exploratory is often compared to detective work. This is the easy way to look at it, because it will try to detect patterns, detective work, whereas confirmation is like a judge or a jury in a court trial. You can write this down or remember this also, so that you will understand what this is. Are you going to use this? I don't think so. But still, ICAI, of course, sometimes it oversteps in its ambition, which is probably great. But this is more of technical and more of theoretical in terms of how the data analysis happens and all that. But from examination standpoint, we need to know this. EDA and CDA. EDA, patterns and relationships in data. CDA, confirmatory, statistical techniques to prove hypothesis is correct or not, or true or false. EDA is like detective work, CDA is like judge. Okay? Yeah. So data analytics can be separated into, that is another, so one classification is EDA and CDA, another classification is quantitative data analysis, qualitative data analysis, two varieties. The name itself suggests. Quantitative data analysis, this involves analysis of numerical data with quantities or quantifiable variables, so that we can basically statistical data. And qualitative data analysis, more interpretative. That means non-numerical data like texts, images, audio, video, common phrases. Google uses this left and right. Qualitative data analysis. So now tell me, what is quantitative and what is qualitative when you compare to EDA and CDA? If you look at CDA is quantitative. Why? It is using statistical techniques. EDA, one type of qualitative data analysis, which does not use statistical techniques, but it tries to identify patterns. Okay, so this is a new concept for most of us, so try to read that again, understand that again, and 2 or 3 points if a question for 2 marks is given. So that is theory about 2 types of data analytics applications. So at application level, business intelligence and reporting provides business executives and other corporate workers actionable information, again the same. So data analysis helps people. So more advanced type of data analytics, this is more advanced topics. First one is called data mining. You know how mining happens in KGF Kolar Gold Factory, mining happens for gold, or at least used to. Similarly in Singareni Collieries, Bailadilla, Kudremukh, these are all mining. But what is data mining? Mining on the internet, mining on the data. So to sort the data into large data sets, to identify trends, patterns and relationships. Again, mining is qualitative data. Mining is exploratory. They are exploring the data. Right? Mining, data mining. So in the exam, if at all a question is coming on EDA and CDA, you can write this. Data mining, hyphen, exploratory data analysis technique. Why? It tries to search for patterns, trends and relationships. Same as EDA. Predictive analytics, meaning before the situation happens. Customer behavior, Google, Amazon, they try to understand our behavior. They try to suggest based on our previous behavior. Behavior not in a personal sense, at a digital presence. So you may ask me, sir, if I don't use internet at all, how will they know about me? Well, they don't care. They don't know about you. As simple as that. But is it possible actually in the current world? No. So that means the moment we enter into internet, someone is trying to analyze our patterns. Not someone, everyone, by the way. That's why data is private, but even then it is analyzed. I don't want to scare you on that, but yeah, you have to remember one thing. Whatever we try to see, whatever we try to enter, we try to browse, Even though we try to erase the history, our patterns of browsing, our patterns of reading, our patterns of watching, those are all stored. They are not deleted. Once entered into internet, it never gets deleted. Nothing gets deleted on internet. Actual internet. From a user side, from our side, we see that is deleted. No, no, no. So be careful while you are doing anything on internet. Someone is watching. That someone may not use that, by the way, don't be worried about it. But don't think that by just deleting the cookies, by just deleting the history on your mobile or cell phone, mobile or laptop or desktop, doesn't mean that you have deleted everything. So our data gets used by lot of corporate companies in various different levels, both EDA as well as CDA, both qualitative as well as quantitative. They use in data mining. That's the reason why they could market their products to us. Okay. So predictive analytics, so equipment failures and all that also. When the equipment may fail you, for example, predictive analytics, part of that may be robotics. Data analytics are used in robotics, so that what may happen in near future if the same pattern continues, something like that. And there is something called machine learning, which is a very advanced topic. That means machine itself, artificial intelligence. Machine becomes intelligent like human, so it learns from its mistakes and then improvises the system automatically. Sorry, that is very advanced technology now. It is in progress. So examples wise, big data analytics in data mining, that is used. Big data is IBM product. Predictive analytics and machine learning also. So just as an example, so data leads to information leads to knowledge leads to intelligence and vision. Very important. And at the end of it, intelligent decisions are taken. Those are called, that is called wisdom. So at a broader level, data is the basic. Data is the basic, and then it leads to information. Information leads to knowledge. Knowledge leads to wisdom. So to take right decisions at right time. Okay, that's the reason why experienced people are supposed to be intelligent in taking decisions. Why? Because they have crossed the basic information stage. They have gone to knowledge and wisdom stage. Similarly, applications also are developed like that. Some applications, examples these are, like credit card, patterns, fraud and identity theft. A lot of times credit card or money transfer. Have you ever done money transfer? Then in the system will ask, last time you did this, this time also you want to do the same transaction. Did you ever see that? How system is remembering that, even though you deleted or you logged out and all? Because that is there as a data analysis. They did that on us. And e-commerce companies, mobile network operators, healthcare organizations, pretty important. In fact, healthcare is going to be the near future, where the lot of research and development money is there. DNA research, patterns. So like 3 generations back, if our family, one of the family members had for unfortunate reasons, let us say cancer, using the data, machines can predict if we may get cancer or not. Can you believe that? That type of research is going on. So instead of this is just an example here, okay, don't take it seriously. Instead of getting exposed to a disease like that, we can predict it and resolve that by using data analytics. And for that, DNA research may be the input data, and DNA research can go to 7 generations back also. Look at the technology. Of course, as a middle class and low tech India, we may not have all this yet, but rich class of Western Europe, rich class of US, they are all doing this. Okay, healthcare definitely can be useful, right? So some examples just for discussion sake. Actually, what happens inside? Oh, this is a very fantastic question. Explain the data analytics process. What happens? By the way, you or we as chartered accountants, we will never do all this. But most of the applications what we use, the backbone is data analytics. So we should know. Let us say you are auditing Google financial systems. And in one of the reports or one of the financial reports it mentions for artificial intelligence and machine learning the budget allocation was 500 crores. At least we should know what it is. So that's the reason why this is explained. So step 1, data collection. Various data inputs are there, mostly from the internet now. So the more digital presence we have, the more data we are providing to those companies. Simple, straightforward equation. So analytics process starts with data collection, first step. By collecting the data, data may be in whatever format. Data may be in 100 different languages. Data may be so many methods. And they will all dump it to data warehouse. Okay. Then second step, find and fix data quality problems, because the data what we have acquired and dumped into data warehouses, but the data may not be in the same format. Sometimes that may be corrupted data also. So fix the data quality problems. There are tools to do this. Varieties of additional data preparation also can be done. So at this point, data analytics work begins. A data scientist builds an analytical model. Data scientist builds an analytical model using predictive modeling tools or any other analytics software. Don't get frightened with these words. These are easy. Predictive modeling, what does it mean? How a pattern may work. For example, in case of a person telling a lie in police interrogation, whether the person is telling a lie or not, how to find? Okay, lie detector is one. There are so many other methods. Systems can actually, facial recognition software can help them, police. While interrogation, they use the data analytics tools. So that is called predictive modeling. What may happen before it happens? Prediction. Meteorological department. Have you heard about it? Meteorological department, like how these hurricanes are coming, tufan, what type of issues are there in terms of rain, and how do they know? They are doing predictive modeling. Write it down. Predictive modeling. Data analytics gets used for predictive modeling. Example, meteorological department. Okay? Or healthcare. And other analytics software also. Okay? So don't worry about the software programs, Python, these are all like different. It's just to scare you. ICA has included here. These are various companies. Python, Scala, these are all software programs or programming languages. Okay. So then data gets cleaned, and that process is called training the model until the functions are intended, till the data is clean. And then build an analytical model. In some cases, analytics applications can be set to automatically trigger business actions. For example, stock trades by a financial services firm. Do you know entire stock market, share market in India? Most of the trading happens on automated platform. And a lot of predictive models are there. Which share can be bought, what may be the best shot. A lot of predictive models are there. Do you think Rakesh Jhunjhunwala uses only human intelligence? No. He uses his company. Actually, he has a company to do this. He recruits people from IIT to do this predictive modeling. These are programs. So what does the program do? Or what do the programs do? What do they do? They analyze all the previous sessions, share market sessions, data, history of companies, how it is flaring in what circumstances, all those methods, and it produces decision points. Then Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and their associates, they take decisions based on the suggestion by data analytical models. So a lot of visualization. Data visualization may happen, so many things. Okay. So this is about data analytics and process. Step 1, data collection. Step 2, fix the data quality problems or find and fix the data quality problem. Step 3, of course, the process of it, build the analytical model. 3 levels. Are we clear? New technical terms, so you have to read it more thoroughly, not once, till you remember the technical terms and the meanings of the same. Go through that. Okay. Alright, the next concept is business intelligence. Again, it is almost the same as data analytics, but business intelligence is a little advanced, because intelligence is not just data, right? Intelligence means taking right decision. So business intelligence, it is a technology driven process for analyzing data and presenting actionable information. For whom? Corporate executives, business managers and other end users, to make more informed business decisions. Instead of taking business decisions by chance, instead of taking heads or tails whether to invest in this company or not, use logical models, actionable information, use that. And business intelligence is also a software tool, and these are like, that's why these are a little advanced in terms of data processing. Variety of tools are there, don't worry about it, because we are not going to discuss much in terms of high level details. Also tools, applications, methodology, so that organizations use those. A lot of reports are there. There is always there, they use a word called dashboard. What is a dashboard? Dashboard has various varieties of graphs, so that we can take decisions. Those graphs are called generally data visualizations. Visually graphs are presented. Okay. Why business intelligence? Definitely same, almost similar, so that we will be ahead of the competitors. We can understand the customer behavior and spending patterns. That is important for businesses. How are we spending? What type of money is going out of our pocket? Where I as an organization can lure your pocket, can loot you. That is the objective of businesses. So to understand that, capabilities, market conditions, future trends, social, regulatory and political environment also. Maybe in CA economics you would have studied some external economic and non-economic macro and micro factors. All those things we can do analysis. Based on that we can take decisions. So this is example how business intelligence works. So data warehouse is here at the back end, and some questions can be like this: how many products sold 10,000 rupees last month in TV and ad areas? Let us say we are Sony has TV manufacturing. So in India we want to know how many Sony TVs below this happened. So what does it do? Information it gathers. Product database is developed. Advertising database is used. Customer demographic database. What is demographics? Customer data related to population, like the ethnicity, population density and all that. Based on that, sometimes we can increase customer credit limit. I don't know whether you have any credit cards. Maybe ask your parents. They get a lot of automated messages from banks and some third parties. Oh, if you want to increase and you are eligible to increase this credit limit from X to Y, 1 lakh to 2 lakhs. Of course, a lot of them are fake also nowadays. Don't believe those. But those are all using business intelligence. How are they? Because in the last 6 months you would have spent more than per month 1 lakh or so. Of course you would have paid, but based on your payment history, based on your spending history, this SMS gets generated, the call gets generated, an email comes to you. All these are automated, my friends. So business intelligence is working at the back end. It is not only human anymore. There are software programs who can think like human and send SMSs, emails, and sometimes automated calls. Why do we get those? Because some business data warehouse at the back end, some business intelligence is helping them to identify the future customers. 1,000 calls they make, 2,000 emails they may send. Even if one customer gets clicked, that is enough for their marketing expenses. and further revenues. That's how companies are working. And for that, this is how information gets gathered. Okay, so business intelligence provides input to various different types of questions, and from there the information gets updated based on that actionable. That's why online transaction processing, and online analytical processing, these two are working closely hand in hand. Okay, then what is data? It can be anything: historical information, new data. Our analysis can be into business intelligence analysis can be into various things. This is an interesting topic. A lot of software engineers are working on this business intelligence, and IBM is one of the world's topmost business intelligence researcher. Of course, Google and other top companies, they use the tools, but that's how business intelligence is used. What are the benefits? Again, the same is repeated: accelerating the decision making, optimizing the internal processes. I don't have to read this, increasing operational efficiency. What is operational efficiency? A single person in marketing earlier used to put lot of manual effort. Now that person, marketing person, by using the data, they can take more decisions, faster decisions. Naturally, efficiency is more. Okay, new revenues, digital money also comes now. That is new revenue, new areas. Market trends, of course, ultimately everything goes back to market trends and customer behavior. And customer experience, appropriate response to customers and priorities and all that. Okay, so this is mostly about the business intelligence. Of course, certain further examples of that. A lot of technology is built on that. So ad hoc analysis is one part of it. Ad hoc means whenever required. It is not permanent, whenever required. And enterprise reporting, organizationally, MIS, enterprise means organization, right? So MIS is also business intelligence can be there. Online analytical processing, mostly share market systems, which are very dynamic. Like insurance systems may not be dynamic, slowly they can work. But banking, very fast. Telecommunications, very fast. Stock market, share market, super fast. Decisions have to be quick. So those are online analysis happens there. Mobile BI, real-time BI, whatnot. So many areas. So it includes data visualization, which is nothing but graphics and somewhat artificial intelligence by using that augmented reality, virtual reality. Those things are also part of it. World is changing. World is moving forward to technology. So we need to know those, just to know those as of now, because this is not technical session. This is not how to design these things and all. Interesting topics, but not for us in terms of development. Okay, just to know. So this is about business intelligence and technologies. So what are advanced analytics, data mining? Same thing is again. This particular portion seems like ICA has used it from somewhere else. So same, whatever we have been discussing, it is explaining the same. So data scientists may be there, mathematicians actually, statisticians, predictive modelers and other skilled analytics professions. A lot of tools are there. Varieties of big data. So just go through this. It's nothing much to be explained. Unstructured data may be there, how to structure it. Log files, meaning error log, and some files, exception files, error files. Sensor data, for example, in Dubai airport, there are sensors everywhere. If any person is smuggling liquor or any of the contraband, meaning drugs or whatever, automatically sensors. Those are not like dogs, okay, but they have sensors. And all the data is continuously scanned. That is huge data. So like that. It is a real-time data. So like that. Okay. Mix of, again, general discussion. What type of jobs are there? Just go through that. It is used interchangeably with business analytics. Intelligence and analytics both are reasonably same. Some of the other cases, business analytics is used either more narrowly to refer advanced data analytics. Okay, so business intelligence is mostly the output of business analytics. That's how we can look at it. Alright? Okay. I think we have just gone through this data analytics, MIS and reporting, business intelligence, tools, methods. You can refer this slide. This is very bullet point oriented. But of course, you should go through the the ICA material as well. Now, there is a new concept, not new for most of the international companies, international organizations. It is pretty much old, but a lot of Indian accounting firms and auditing firms are mostly accounting firms are using this. This is called Business Reporting and Fundamentals of XBRL. There is a language for businesses, just like how HTML is there for viewing data in the internet. XML is there to parse the data in the formats. These are various technical terms, and maybe some of you would have studied in your 10th, 11th and 12th, but those things are for programming languages. So what is XBRL, which is an accounting language, almost like a programming language but for accounting. So business reporting, naturally we need to report to our bosses, or public reporting in case of listed companies. So reporting is a fundamental part of large movement, because without reports, accurate reports, people cannot take, key stakeholders cannot take decisions. So implementation involves again ETL. Do you remember this? Data warehouse. Write down if you forgot, or even if you remember, write down ETL, extract, transform, load, in terms of data warehousing. Okay, they use that. So in the information technology, a lot of reports are there because of availability of varieties of templates, formats. So senior management wants so many things. So this type of reporting process involves querying the data sources. What is querying? Searching the data source. Data source can be from Aadhaar database because it has been proven that a lot of times Aadhaar database got hacked, and they use it in the dark web to sell the data. Credit card and debit card data and all those things. We can query the data sources. Different logical models to produce humanly readable report. Reports should be very useful. Otherwise, what may happen is Excel sheets with a lot of data. How can we analyze it? So otherwise, instead of that, if a graph is given, trends are given like a pie chart or like a histogram, then we can understand, okay, which share is going up, which is going down, why it is going down is analysis, but at least visually we can understand it. So that's the reason why reports are really important. Financial organizations conduct varieties of reporting like environmental reporting, social reporting, governance reporting, ESG, in short it is called. So different reports, integrated reporting is also happening, like how we are achieving our mission objectives and strategy. We can provide reports to them through financial, non-financial and other data. Governance, what type of risks we are maintaining, how many risks we avoided, how many risks we have we have handled. So varieties, short-term and long-term strategies, how are we performing, financial data, social data, meaning how we are doing corporate social responsibility, how many schools we adopted, what type of facilities we provided, some report as an example I am telling. So reports and business reports are really important. So same thing is explained in much more wider terminology here. Effective and transparent business reporting allows organizations to present a cohesive explanation of their business and helps them engage with internal and external stakeholders. That means all the departments within the organization should be cohesive. Do you remember this word? This is a physics word. Cohesive. Water particles are cohesive. Actually, water particles, they go together. That going together, working together is called cohesiveness. So by using the cohesive explanation of their business, a single tone of the business from all the functions, then naturally key stakeholders will have a better understanding of our business. So, high quality business reporting. High quality means not able to manipulate. Heart of strong and sustainable organizations, financial markets, economies. What happened in other frauds? Always there is a fraud, reports will be wrong. As simple as that. Because business reports can be, if those are manipulated, naturally we will believe those reports as a stakeholder, as a shareholder, or as a management person. So naturally we will be cheated. So business reports should be very much accurate. So information is crucial for stakeholders. So this is general explanation why it is important. Of course, many organizations are increasingly complex, meaning global, larger economic and environmental social footprints, different countries, different continents. TCS works in almost 100 countries. Infosys works in almost 85 countries. Microsoft is into almost 150 countries. Each country is a different animal. They have their own rules, regulations, law, and situations, environment, political, social, so many. So reports also should be like that, related to their countries and complexities. So that's why environment, again second time they are mentioning, environmental, social and global information is given. So it is a part of business information. Don't think that business information, business reports means only financial data. A lot of other data also has been given as reports, business reports. Okay. So this is a general general discussion about business reporting and enterprise business reporting. But now this concept, fundamentals of XBRL, very specific to accounting community like us, financial community. This is called extensible business reporting language. XBRL is extensible. We can manage, we can extend it, we can contract it. It is a flexible way of business reporting language. So globally we have to, generally organizations, especially stock markets, share markets, they release their reports in extensible business reporting language so that manipulations can be less. Because this is a standardized language, standardized syntax, standardized grammar, standardized terminology, dictionary of words. So extensible business reporting language. Okay, it is a freely available global standard for exchanging business information. Let us say I am working in India and my home, my company's home office is in Germany. Let us say Germany follows certain financial reporting model. India follows some other model. And as a CEO of the overall organization, I want to know both scenarios. So there must be a common platform, common way to report the business updates. So that is called XBRL. So that's why this is important. This can be a good question. related to XBRL. XBRL allows the expression of semantic meaning commonly required in business reporting. What is semantic meaning? Generally used meaning. So that we will be on the same page. So we know in accounting debit and credit. So in all countries, is it the same? Do you know? I challenge you. In some countries, credit means our credit means their debit. Their credit means our debit. So it is on the reverse side. So there must be a common reporting language, common reporting pattern, common reporting terminology. So that's why the language is based on a programming language called XML. And they use XML syntax. Syntax means grammar, sequence of commands and all that. And related XML technologies, XML schema, path. You don't have to go too deep into it. But just to read, just to understand at a high level, there are varieties of components within XML. It's a programming language to communicate sets of data. SETS, sets of data. So one use of XBRL is to define and exchange financial information. If a question on XBRL comes, this is expected in the answer. What is the purpose of XBRL? To define and exchange financial information. What is XBRL? Extensible business reporting language. It is freely available and global standard. These are the keywords. Sometimes while you are writing exams in especially information technology and meaning EIS and SM, unless we use the keywords, we will not get marks. You may think, oh sir, I have written excellent. But unless the important words are not there, important jargon is not there, we will lose marks. So that's the reason why you have to note down in your notebook keywords. What is XBRL? Write it. Extensible Business Reporting Language. What is that? It is freely available and global standard for what? Exchanging business information. You know this now. Okay? And it is a free and it is developed by some third party, XBRL International. Okay, what is XBRL? Again, it explains it is an open international standard for what? For digital business reporting. Very specific, digital business reporting, so that now all the systems are digital, which are like online, which are into internet. So financial systems also should interact digitally. So digital business reporting managed by what? A global non-for-profit consortium, which is okay. So it is used around the world in more than 50 countries. They say now it became 100 countries already. Millions of XBRL documents are created every year. Paper-based reports are coming down. So XBRL provides digital reports in a mutually understandable format. So in a nutshell, XBRL provides a language in which reporting terms can be, this is important, in which the reporting terms can be authoritatively defined. Those may not vary from country to country because they use standard terminology. So those terms can be used to uniquely represent the contents of financial statements or other kinds of compliance also, or taxation related reports, performance and business reports, whatever. So between organizations, easy to share the information, not only the balance sheet and some of the other important reports. Those things also can be shared using these languages, which is XBRL. Okay. However, we are not going to program. Don't worry about it. We are going to use it, or at least at this level, we will try to know what XBRL is from a theoretical standpoint. So don't worry how it works, how does it look, what type of programming instructions we need to give, how to code it, what is the grammar of it. Forget about it. It is all to know. It is a global standard of business reporting communication. That is a simple way to look at it. Global standard for reporting, business reporting. So it has a standards based way to communicate and exchange business information between systems. So what are the components of it? These communications are defined by the metadata. I don't know whether you know the word. Metadata means basically master data, we can say, in a way. Data on top of data, which is very abstract level. So which is very generic, not specific to a country, very high level. Set out in taxonomies. Taxonomies are nothing but different definitions of individual reporting concepts. So we will look into those. So two new words we have heard here. One is metadata. Note it down. Any new word comes, try to underline and note it down in your notebook in sequence so that we will never miss it. What is metadata? Refer to the dictionary, or generally I am telling metadata is data on top of data, which is one layer above, so that our communication can be very generic in terms of business reports, where it will not be specific. Okay. So it captures the individual reporting concepts and all that, which is okay. And other semantic meaning also. What is semantics? The way we use the words. Semantics. How do we understand? So the exchange, definitely paper is not, or meaning paper reports, PDF reports, HTML reports are gone. Now it is, XBRL is a little bit of like exchange from film photography to digital photography. Very simple way to look at it. Earlier there used to be films. I don't know, you know it or not. Cameras used to have films, and films get exposed, and those exposure brings negatives. Those negatives, then we can make it positive. Huge process. Like manual reports to Excel reports to PDF reports, all those are gone. Now it is online exchange using XBRL. Okay, don't go to the details of array or how does it done. How is it done? That's not the scope here. Don't go into the how part yet. It is all what is it. Okay. What does it do? Simple. Barcodes for reporting. Have you heard barcodes? I think any product you buy now, when you go to a supermarket, they scan it. Scan on what? What is that? That is barcode. Universally accepted, of course. Within India, barcode is method is different. US is different. France is different. Like that. So barcode universal in terms of language is almost like that. It reports more accurate and more efficient, of course. Reports are, some of the facts. Unique tags will be there so that others will also accept it. So people publishing reports with confidence they will publish the reports. Who will consume, meaning who are using the reports, they will test them, set up business and logical rules so that mistakes will not be there. Easy to verify it also. People using the information for their needs, they can use it. Different languages, alternative currencies, and so on and so forth. And it is all automated. It is all so currency calculations, currency in terms of calculations also, it happens automatically, so that we can read the reports in the local currencies. That is also part of standardization. People consuming the information, so confident, data provided to the confirmed set of sophisticated predefined definitions. So basically standardization of reporting data. So these are, what does the XBRL do? So you have to read this. You have to, I think I have explained the concept behind it, the utilization behind it, but now you have to read it and memorize. Okay, study it. What is XBRL tagging? It is a separate process. It can be a short answer question. It is the process by which any financial data is tagged with what? The most appropriate element in the accounting taxonomy. This is a new word again. Tagging is a new word. Have you heard about geotagging? GHMC, for example, Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, while they are collecting the garbage, on the garbage trucks they have a barcode. Do you know that? So how many trips a particular truck is making to the dump yard and other details, using that barcode they get a report. It's very sophisticated process. I mean, I'm not saying accounting data is garbage. Don't think otherwise. But the method is same. Tagging is nothing but every report, every important concept of a report will have a tag. And the tag will be defined in a dictionary. The dictionary is called taxonomy. Don't get fooled by the word. Taxonomy doesn't mean tax related book. Taxonomy, I don't know why they have designed this word. Could be from Greek or Latin, I think. But taxonomy means a dictionary of accounting terms. Why did not they say accountonomy? I don't know. They said taxonomy. What is taxonomy? Dictionary of accounting terms. Maybe in ancient times accounting means taxation, nothing more. Maybe during Greek or Egyptian civilization and all that. Maybe taxation equal to accounting. Later a lot of improvement happened. So maybe that's when they are using some terminology of accounting, the dictionary of accounting terms is called taxonomy. So there will be a centralized database of taxonomy. So any word that is used in XBRL report in the tag will be there as a part of taxonomy, so that there is no confusion. That's why identification and classification would be relatively easier. So I hope you understand what is XBRL tagging. Tagging is nothing but financial data is tagged with the most appropriate element in the accounting taxonomy, which is the relevant word. Directly we don't have to get confused. We means anyone who is reporting a financial report. XBRL tagging itself will have a definition for every word. In where? In taxonomy, dictionary of accounting terms. All XBRL reports use the same taxonomy. Numbers associated with the same element are comparable irrespective of how they are described by those releasing financial statements. So countries specific words also gets translated to same taxonomical words, so that it is very easily interpreted. Alright. Second point, comprehensive definitions and accurate data tags will be there, so that these things will be easily understood. There will be a reference to all the data, validation, exchange and whatnot. So the XBRL is nothing but a standard in terms of interchangeable between different information systems of different organizations. So it is a standard, it maintains a standard, company to company, country to country, accounting system to accounting system. It brings standardization. How does it do? What programs it uses? Don't worry. That's what it is as of now. So this allows for exchange of business information across a reporting chain also. Across reporting chain in terms of countries also may change. Let's say you are working as an accountant in Indian subsidiary of a foreign company. Then even though we are doing our accounting according to Indian standards or Ind AS we call, but the reporting to US may should be presented in the GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles also, US GAAP. So taxonomy and the data tags and in terms of common standardized language in accounting definitely helps both the parties in the same company, same reporting chain also. Okay. So entire world, big four companies and other organizations, lot of financial organizations, banks and whatnot, even manufacturing organizations, Ready Labs for example, pharmaceutical companies, while they are presenting their financial reports, they use XBRL. I wish you, all the best to get into those type of organizations to learn these type of new emerging things. Okay. So not only the exchange of summary business reports like financial statements, risks and all, XBRL has capability to allow tagging of transactions that can themselves can be aggregated into XBRL reports. That means it can generate its own reports. So system independent exchanges and all that may happen. All right. So XBRL, what does it do? What is XBRL tagging? I think we have gone through that. It is a new concept. It is totally fresh concept for most of us. So what is XBRL? What is XBRL tagging? What is taxonomy? Basically it is standardized communication of business reporting. Simple way to look at it. And then more explanation you have to read, you have to study and memorize. Who uses it? Varieties of people. Yeah, regulators like financial regulators, securities regulator like SEBI and SEC and all that, exchanges, stock exchanges, business registrars. In terms of banks, they may be tax authorities. Who, like I said, entire world is using XBRL, especially from large organizational perspective. And XBRL uses a lot of US GAAP. XBRL uses UK and other accounting standards. So varieties of standards, global standards they can use. So that's why this is very standardized reporting process. Some companies use it, some governments also use it, the data providers use it, analysts use it, of course accountants use it. Yeah, this is okay, general discussion only, but this is a very good question or very good concept. What are the important features of XBRL? I think till now we have discussed most of those. First is clear definitions. It allows the creation of reusable, authoritative definitions called taxonomies. I think we mentioned definitions are nothing but meanings of each word. So these can be reusable. These are not one time. These are not country specific. These are very standardized. Very important. These taxonomies are those. These are developed by regulators, accounting standards setters, government agencies. Okay. First one, clear definitions. Second one, testable business rules. We can test various business scenarios so that we can report what can be reported, what cannot be reported. We can test it. Business rules can be logical or mathematical also. They can be used. Some example, poor quality information sent to regulator or third party. Which one we should stop? We can take a decision by running a XBRL query. Information being accepted by regulator also can be manipulated and managed. So business reports that fail critical rules can be bounced back to the preparer. Sometimes maybe critical details are not there. We can send back the report very easily in XBRL by not accepting it. So flagging or highlighting questionable information, creating ratios, why not? Aggregations and other kinds of value added information. So many things related to XBRL is very flexible. So these things. So second point is we can test the business rules. Testable business rules. First point, first important feature, clear definitions. Second important feature, testable business rules. What is the third one? Multilingual support. I think this we can remember easily. Various countries, various languages. This is developed into multiple languages. Standardized terminology, accounting wise, business reporting wise, but language wise it can be into multiple languages. And then it has strong software support. Very good framework in terms of programming. So very wide range of stakeholders are there, so that it has very strong support. XBRL has very futuristic standardized process of reporting, business reporting. Not any other reports, purely business reporting. Extensible business reporting language. That's why it is called XBRL. So if a question of 4 marks is given, discuss about XBRL, we need to write what is XBRL, what are the components of it, who uses XBRL, and what are the important features also. Okay, that is a new concept called XBRL for you. It is not emerging technology, it has been there in the market for a while, and now it is because of the global communication using internet, it has gained more momentum now. Okay, all right, that is about XBRL. That is about data analytics and business intelligence. Some new concepts for most of us. All right, so that's where the knowledge related to accounting systems and financial systems purely. So if you look at the diagram, in Charms PPT, I have taken it from, I think, KPMG, if I remember. I don't exactly remember that. So if you take at a company level, we are at the bottom in terms of reporting, then regulators and GAAP example wise, and financial reporting, business reporting, and finally XBRL is on top of it. Based on this, it is very generalized. So flexibility, more comparability is there, and within the organization we can have flexibility, but comparison is very minimal. We cannot compare with other countries or companies. Here we can compare with other countries and companies, standardized way of looking at it. So that's why if you look at upside more compatibility, downside more flexibility. Flexibility is okay, but within the company we can have whatever reports, but when there is an exchange required, very tough. Hence more compatibility is XBRL. Okay, this is a useful diagram. I thought very easily understood, so you can use this as an explanation while you are writing an examination question also. Okay, now we have come to the final leg of this particular chapter. Typically regulatory and compliance requirements, again legal requirements, especially business reporting, financial and accounting systems. Lot of regulatory requirements are there, and the mostly regulatory requirements means law. So laws, policies, regulations, self-explanatory mostly. Okay, there are general conditions, compliance requirements. There are some specific also. So income tax compliance is applicable to all, subject to basic exemption limit, but compliance regarding GST, labor law are applicable to specific type only. So there are some generic law, some specific legal requirements, and within accounting systems lot of regulatory compliance are there. Okay, so income tax returns and income tax returns are based on accounting data only. So two approaches for making it. One, same software for both accounting and tax compliance, using different softwares for accounting and tax compliance. Fortunately or unfortunately, in one of the exams they gave this question: what do you suggest in terms of accounting software? Should the accounting and tax be separate or same software? What is the advantage? So this is a table. Again, some particulars we can read. Ease of software and operation, which is easy. Both only, I mean, if the both combined, definitely it is complex. Integrated system is generally complex. Only tax compliance, it is easy because only for one single purpose. Features and facilities, It's not an exclusive system for tax only, there will be less features. Only if it is specific to accounting or specific to taxation, more features will be there. Hence, this is more the only tax compliance software, it is more in terms of features and facilities. Time and efforts required. Oh, definitely, because accounting and taxation work together in this type of setup, the activity will be done in less time. But only tax is there, naturally it takes more time. General information, okay. And then accuracy. Accuracy of data is more in terms of accounting and taxation together. Why? They can verify the data very easily. That's called reconciliation. Reconciliation means getting the data from other system and verification of it, and verification and balancing. Whereas here the accuracy is less. Why? Only tax, again it has to coordinate and it takes its own sweet time. Accuracy may be less. Cost, naturally, combination is always more, single is less. Yeah. So if a question, this question was given for 4 marks once, I think 4 marks if I remember. So if that type of a question, what is the pros and cons of having a single software or separate software? What do we remember? Particulars should be remembered. Then automatically we will understand this. So ease of operation, features, time and effort required, accuracy, cost. Okay. So as an example, I think there is an illustration. You just go through that. I am not going to read this for you. I am not going to explain this again because this is based on what you have prepared above in the same chapter. So try to read this illustration as an example and try to answer the multiple choice questions. This can be a pattern in this attempt, May 2021 attempt. They may give a paragraph, a case study, and they may ask all relevant questions there from that case study. It's like reading comprehension and answering it, but we should know the concept. We should know the concept, then only we will be able to understand and respond. So there are 2 illustrations. Go through that. Any questions you can ask. I am not going to read this comprehension for you. You read this. You try to understand the case here. So what type of changes it has to make for the new matter called RERA, real estate. If I talk about it outside, it doesn't make any sense. So you have to read this case. According to this case, what suggestions you will give. So which is back end or front end or middle or whatever, based on the other earlier material of this chapter, you should be able to answer these questions. But this is a jackpot. Why? If you know the concepts, if you can apply the concepts to the given case study and try to remember that, you will get marks just like that. Getting 1 mark or 2 marks or 3 marks or 4 marks out of this type of comprehension is bonus. The entire theory paper, if we write, for example, a question, if it is 4 marks, even if we write all the points, you may not get totally score that. You may get maximum 3, maybe 2.5, 3, like that. But this type of multiple choice questions, if you know it, you get it. So you prepare well. You can actually have very good score in these subjects. Okay. So that is how this second chapter, Financial and Accounting Systems, is complete. There is a summary and all that, you can go through that. There are some questions at the end of the chapter, same with the first chapter also. Please read through those and go through those. If you read the end of the chapter questions, you will get a minimum of 50% in every subject. I can tell you that. And especially for EIS and SM, end of the chapter questions, you will get minimum of 50% in the exam. So you need to read, go through the questions, go back to the material, refer to the material based on the question. Knowing the knowledge is one angle. By reading the question, applying that is another angle. So you need to do that. 2 or 3 steps of reading, steps of preparation, steps of going through the questions, revision test papers, not only at the end of the chapter, but otherwise revision test papers, previous test papers, look at it. Any relevant questions from this chapter, search for it. You should be active. Don't look only for someone to tell everything. You should do those. And in the process of doing those, any questions, I am here to explain. I am here to rectify your doubt. Okay. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to post it in our common WhatsApp group. We will respond. I will respond as soon as possible. Till we meet for the next chapter, till we meet for the next session. Thank you very much. Bye.